It's the return of the all wait, no wait, you're kidding. He didn't just say what I think he did he? And Boxing Ego said, nothing, you idiots, Boxing Ego. The ticket sales for Edgar Berlanga and Shakur Stevenson doubleheader do not look to be selling that good. So in this video, I'm gonna break it down and let you know what's going on. We'll see if they can recover. You know, I'm just gonna break down the facts, but I think it's time y'all better start listening to me. I'm the future of this boxing game. I'm the past, the present, and the future. Let's go. So without further ado, this was sent to me and it came across the desk of Boxing Ego. And it shows that the tickets for Edgar Berlanga, Shakur Stevenson doubleheader look to be, in my opinion, struggling, right, to sell. Man, oh man. Now, the thing that is interesting about this particular fight is they chose really a tennis venue, the Louis Armstrong Stadium. The bout is July 12th. Now, mind you, as of me recording the video, we're about 2 weeks into June. So the fight is next month and Ring is doing this fight. I thought the location was a bit weird to put it in Louis Armstrong Stadium. I've been covering boxing from coast to coast for over 13 years, right? I've been to Omaha to cover Crawford. I've been to Vegas, gang of times. I live in California, but I'm up north. So I've been to SoCal for a ton of fights, New York. You know, I've been to Broner's hometown, Cincinnati. I've been around the world, yeah. I can't find my, it's real, it's like, right? I've been around. And I've even been to pretty much all of the major venues that host boxing, you know, the big ones, especially like in New York. I've been to MSG. I've been to Barclays Center, of course. I've been to Nassau Coliseum, right? These are kind of the main ingredient in boxing. Ring announced that they got this July 12th card and Shakur's fighting William Zepeda, not mad at the fight, and Berlanga's fighting Hamza Shiraz, right? Your boy Ego, I made content. This is what I do. I'm a content creator, dummy. So I make the content. I spoke my truth. And once again, it looks like your boy Ego is right. I questioned from the beginning this particular venue. Why are you putting it here? And what I noticed about Turkey and Ring, you can tell who is from like the soil. And by soil, I mean the United States, like our soil, right? Not necessarily one coast or another, but bi-coastal, anywhere, Midwest, South, Northwest, Southeast, you know what I mean? You could tell who's from here. And I find it funny that Turkey, you could tell he's not from New York, for example, right? Because I feel like he has the resources and he has these ideas for his business. Fair play. But he's trying to reinvent the wheel and innovate with things that you don't need to innovate with, right? Like, for example, I just want to give you guys an analogy. I'm the king of that. King of these analogies. Best in the business, and it's not even close. New York is known for their pizza, right? Period. I heard it's the water that really makes the difference, because when you're making the dough, something about the water, the pizza is delicious, right? It is known for that. So it doesn't make much sense to come from anywhere outside of America and come open up a restaurant in New York trying to do your own thing and make a pizza that is vastly different than the pizza that New Yorkers have grown accustomed to eating probably since whenever, you know, let's say the 1900s or whatever, right? I don't know when pizza was introduced to New York, but it doesn't make sense. There's an old saying, when in Rome, do as Romans do, right? Same kind of concept. You should assimilate with certain things. Now, there are outliers like Netflix where they came in and redefined how the fans of movies, movie buffs, receive their content. First, it was mail order. Then they ushered in kind of the streaming and digital way of watching movies, right? And it worked out, right? But that is more of an exception than the rule. There are always going to be outliers who redefine what could be done. You know, you look at Bannister, ran the mile in like 4 minutes or whatever. No one else was doing that before. That set a new status quo. Cool, I'm good with that. But you got to be selective. Certain things don't make sense to just go out your way trying to be different and it doesn't catch. And that's what I noticed from Turkey. Turkey's like, oh, let's do a fight in the middle of the street in Times Square. That was a failure. He was like, your kids and grandkids are going to be talking about this 50 years from now. It wasn't a big event, right? It didn't make no money. Like, why would people be talking about that 50 years from now, right? Not like Mayweather Pacquiao where it's just memorable and Vegas was flooded and made a ton of money, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Like, so these little cockamamie ideas, it's just a lot of them are missing me because I think you're trying and attempting to use your money and buy your way into the sport, into the fan's heart. And certain things don't need to be changed. Like, why not? Okay, for example, again, back to my main theme of Turkey is not from America. And based on his decision making, it kind of shows, right? And whoever, his committee. And if the committee is from America, then they're probably hearing Turkey's ideas and they're not bold enough or whatever to tell him like, hey, that's not a good idea. Everyone's just kind of yes men going with the flow. That's what I really believe to be going on. So let's keep going. Berlanga's from Brooklyn. Why would you not fight in Barclay? That seems like such an easy alley-oop, a layup. Shakur's from Newark, New Jersey, right? And the man that you're putting at the main event, and there was some controversy there. Some people think Shakur Zapata should be main event. Whatever. You chose Berlanga Hamza Shiraz, a Muslim fighter who's an ambassador for Ring, as a main event. The guy that he's fighting is from Brooklyn, coming off like one win and then a loss to Canelo, right? He's from Brooklyn. Why would you not put his fight in Brooklyn? Why would you take it to Queens? Again, if you know New York, Queens is a bit out the way considering. Like, it's like going, you know, when you go fly in and then you have to drive into, like, catch an Uber to Brooklyn from JFK. That's a pretty expensive Uber. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, Queens is just out there. That's just basically what I'm saying. Queens is out there and you're putting it in a known tennis stadium for what? When you have a Brooklyn fighter in a Brooklyn venue that is frequently used for boxing and that Barclay crowd be lit. I've been to several fights at the Barclay Center. So for me, these decisions are just weird. And at this point, it appears that you are just going against the status quo and against the grain for no particular reason, trying to be different. Oh, let's put a fight in Alcatraz. Let's put a fight in a prison. Like, who wants to go to jail? Like, even on some like fight stuff, bro, it's an island. You got to take a boat. I live out here. You know what I mean? I went to Alcatraz a few months back, late last year, you know, at the end of the year. It's not really set up for boxing. And it's like all these weird ideas. And then now it looks like the ticket sales aren't doing that great. But if you put it in Brooklyn, you had a better chance because a drive from Newark to Brooklyn, not that bad. I'm sure you could catch a train easily. You got to catch mad trains and switches and transfers and stuff to get out to Queens, I would imagine, from what I've seen in New York. You guys correct me if I'm wrong, but it just seems inconvenient to put out there. So it's like, who is making these decisions? Why are they making these decisions? Brooklyn fighter who reps Brooklyn heavy. You're putting the fight in New York, but then you're putting in Queens at a tennis stadium. When we've seen it, like I said, I just feel like it's being different for the sake of being different rather than innovating some cool stuff that would make people want to order the fight or go there.